All right, guys, let me quickly go over how to start this mini line project. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take this right here, this graph with this Christmas tree, and we're trying to put it onto, oops, let's get rid of that. We're trying to put it on Desmos. Now, the way for us in order for us to put it on Desmos, what do we need to know? We need to know its equation, and then we need to figure out a domain or a range. So, um, so let's go ahead and get started. So what we need to do is we need to write all of my equations in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Excuse me. All right, so m is my slope, y is my y-intercept. If you don't remember how to do rise over run and figure out your y-intercept from that, that's totally fine. I'm going to show you a second way using stat edit. All right, so first what we need to do is, just like I've numbered my work right here, I've numbered like equations. They're going to be 16 lines, so I skipped a line on each one, and I did 16. And on one side, I wrote equations. On the other side, I wrote domain and range. Okay, so then what I want to do is, I'm just going to number my lines real quick. I'm going to call this line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This right here is a line by itself, so this is line 7. This right here is a line by itself, so this is 8. This is a line by itself, so this is 9. Here I have two lines, so I'll call this a 10, 11,
12, 13, 14, 15, 15, and 16.
So since I have 16 lines, I'm going to need 16 equations. So let's look at this first one right here. Let's come up my equation, my first line. If I wanted to just do slope-intercept form, my rise over run. So if I was to write it in y equals mx plus b, first let's find my slope, my rise over run. So I'm going up 1, 2, over 1. So then this would be y is equal to 2 over 1x plus, what is my y-intercept? Where does this line cross? Here's my y-intercept, positive 5. So positive 5. So my equation is y equals 2x plus 5. All right, so we figured out my equation for line 1. So I'm going to write that y equals 2x plus 5. Now that I figured that out, we need to figure out its domain and range, and I'll explain that in a minute why we need to have the domain or the range. Just choose one. For some lines, like this line right here, domain means how far left and how far right your line goes. Well, let's take an example of this right here. This line doesn't move left or right, it just goes up or down. So for this one, we'll have to find the range, and we can explain that in class. All right, so for this line, for all my lines, for most of my lines, I'm just going to find domain. I want to figure out how far left this line goes and how far right. Okay, so let's think about this. The farthest it goes left is right here. It doesn't pass that line. So what is this x value right here? This is a -1. Okay, and the farthest right that this line goes, it stops at whatever this x value is, which is 0. Okay, 0. Since we're talking about domain, that's x values. You put the line, you put x in between. And then since you have the smallest number on this side, the biggest number on this side, your symbols, your inequality symbols will always open up like that. So this right here is your domain. This one right here. So let me write that down. What we have. So my domain is all my x values greater than 1 and less than or equal to 0. Super important thing, when you write your domain on Desmos, you need to use these symbols right here. I'll show you how to do that. All right, I'm trying to be a little quick. All right, so now we figured out my equation for this line, and we figured out my domain for this line. Now let's go to Desmos real quick. You'll have to open up another tab. Here's my Desmos. Step 1, you need to log in. If you don't log in, it won't save your work. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and log in with Google. Yes, let's do that real quick. I got a lot of Google accounts, so just use my teacher one. So, all right, cool. I'm signed in. Now you can see my name in the top right corner over here. So when we're typing this equation in, let's make it a little more organized. So if I hit this plus sign top right, I want to hit note so I can title this line 1. So that way it's easily organized. So now that I type note, I put line 1, I'm going to type my equation in. So let me go back to see what was my equation. My equation for this line 1 was y equals 2x plus 5. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to hit y equals 2x plus 5. Okay, there's my line. But notice my line does not stop. It keeps going on forever and ever. So we have to put limitations on it. On this same line, you're going to hit this ABC, and you have to use the Desmos ABC, or you can use your laptop keyboard if you know how to use it. So I'm hitting this ABC. I want to use the button in between the V and the B. So this little symbol right here. We need to use domain and range on the same line. So now that I have that, what is my domain? It's from -1 to 0. So I need to type it exactly like that. I'll put it right next to each other so you guys can see. I'm going to type it exactly like this right here. So scoot a little bit over, see if I can. Okay, so I'm going to go back over here. So I type in a -1. I need to use that same symbol on the keyboard. I type in the X. I use that same symbol and then I type in a 0. Bam, there goes my first line. This line right here is line 1. You see, it looks exactly like that. And then we'll repeat the process for line 2. So I'm going to go to line 2 on Desmos. I want to hit the plus sign so I can make a note. I want to call this line 2. That's not line 1. All right, line 2. And then after I do line 2, let's go to my equation real quick. All right, so now we're at line 2. Now let's say you're like, man, I don't remember how to do rise over run and find the y-intercept, and you just want to plug it in to get the points. And you want to use stat edit. So for like these two lines right here, we're going to use stat edit as well to help us figure out those equations. So I'm going to show you how to use stat edit so you can do that for every line if you don't want to do rise over run. So in order for us to do stat edit, two things we must know. We need to know two perfect points. So what is this point here and what is this point? So this point right here, what's my x comma y is what I'm asking. So this point right here is -2 comma 1. So we got -2 comma 1. And what is this point right here? This point is, what is it, 0 comma 3? So 0 comma 3. All right, so now that I know 2 points, we're going to plug it into stat edit. So I'm bringing my calculator. You guys have your calculator because you'll be in class. Pull this bad boy out, bam. All right, so when we're here, if you're on your main screen, this is what it looks like. Let me see, second quit. All right, this is where your main screen. Then you hit stat and you press edit. We go here and we type the numbers in 0, enter, 3, enter. -2 and 1. Bam. Now that you have this, here's where we want to figure out the linear regression. So you hit stat, calc, scroll over to calc. We want number 4. And then we can store it here, but I don't really care about storing it right now because I'm not going to use anything else. So I'm going to press enter. So now I have my equation. So this equation right here, based off these 2 points, my a value is going to be 1, x, or just 1, and my y-intercept, don't worry about the r and the r squared. So my a value is 1, and my b value, my y-intercept is 3. So I have my equation for line 2. So for this line right here, that was the first part of it, right? So here we have y is equal to 1x plus 3. Or you can use x, it's fine. In order for us to start and stop the line, we got to figure out the domain and range. We got to figure out how far left and how far right does this line go. So here's my line right here. It doesn't go past this x value right here, which is -2. So it goes from -2, and then it stops at this x value right here, which is 0. And because we have the smallest number on the left, the biggest number on the right, we can always put the x in the middle, and we can always use these symbols like that. So there's your domain right there, -2 to 0. So then use this little squiggly sign, -2, and then 0 is the other number over here. We put the x in the middle, and we use the symbols. They always go that way. This is the greater than or less than, however you read it. They always go like that. And then let's go put our second line in. So I'm going to go to Desmos. Bam, I already have line 2 written. So then let me pull it up next to my thing real quick. Bam, bam, here. Pull it together. All right, so step 1 is I want to write my equation. What is my equation? It's y equals x plus 3. So I'm typing in y equals x, or 1x, same thing, plus 3. Now my line goes forever and ever. If once I put the domain, it will stop my line because I want it to stop. So I'm at ABC. I use that symbol right there. Type in a -2, -2. Use that same symbol on this app right here, and then you type in an X. Hit that same symbol there. You type in a 0, and then you can just press enter. You don't have to worry about pushing that button again. Press enter, and it closes it for you. Now I got my first and second line, and you just repeat the process. If you want to use just rise over run to figure out your equation, use that. If you were like, I don't remember how to do that, and you want to use 2 points, you use that. That's what you were doing for this mini project. And that's how you type it in the calculator. And that last thing, I forgot. Once you have it typed in, top left corner, please hit the save button. When you hit save, title it tree. So I'm gonna go over here. I can't title it because let's see what, go over here. It won't pull up. So, yeah, it won't pull up for me. Hit the save, change that, and hit save. So I'm gonna hit save. Now that it's saved, when I come back to this, it won't erase. If you don't save it, and if you don't log in, all your stuff's gonna be messed up and you're gonna come crying. Please stop. Please make sure you sign in and save.